Hi there, let's talk about the Cameraman HDA. This node only works in a Solaris context. I have a basic scene setup here. All you need to do is to drop the Cameraman node behind a camera node. By default, it has a default prim path, but it can be any camera you specify. Okay, here I only have one camera, so this default is okay. Let's go through the parameters. There's two modes in this HDA. One is basic X form. The second one will be checkpoint. I will talk about later in the other scene. For the basic X form here, what you can do is that you can specify a point of interest. By default is the original. And you can dolly. Okay. You can pan. You can pan the camera. You can tilt the camera. And you can also roll the camera. Okay, that's basically it for this mode. Now let me show you another more complicated scene where we can use the checkpoint mode. Now we are in scene number 2. We got circling toys and pickets. Okay, now let's go to camera view. So same thing here, I drop down the cameraman behind a camera node. Here let's switch to checkpoint. In this mode you will first need to specify a target point geometry, and on this geometry you will need an orient attribute in order for the below parameter to work properly. Okay, so here this is an instancing. There is about 20 points here, and I just simply instance the geometry onto the points in Solaris. Okay, here the target point is one of the points here, which in this case is this picket right here. And there is 3 modes under the checkpoint mode. There is 3 modes for you to select how you would like to check. The first one will be trace. It's the simple one that you will follow the picket. Here, let me just clear the offset first. It follows the picket, and at the same time you can still do the pan, tilt, and roll operation. Okay. Here, there's couple parameters you need to know. First is the target offset. This means that it will base on the orient attribute on the target point and offset it to its x. You can think of to its left, to its right, to its upper or lower. For example, I'm offsetting the view to the x axle of the picket, or I can offset up the y axle of the picket. Is the local transform by its orient attribute. Okay, it's not a world axis like so. And below we have 3 toggles, meaning that which axis is activated to use this trace mode. For example, I'm following the picket right now, up and down. If I don't want to follow the up motion, the y motion, then I can uncheck the y, and it's not following its y-axis motion. Okay. After you uncheck it, you can still specify the y position that you would like to use. Okay. Usually it depends on the scene whether you want this to be active or not. And remember, these 3 parameters x, y, z here are referring to the world axis, unlike the target offset, which is calculated based on its orient attribute, and these are not. Now let's have a look at the second mode, which is the look at mode. Look at mode simply you specify a position of your camera, and the camera will automatically look at the target. Okay, like so. And you can change the position of your camera using this parameter. Okay, and it will follow the target points. You also have a auto zoom function. You can because you have specified a focal length on the original camera prim. In this case is 18. If you enable auto zoom, it will based on your focal length, it will apply additional scaling to the focal length, okay, to automatically zoom in to the target point, okay. In this case, I have a value. The value is between about 0 to 10. You can overshoot depending. Usually in this range is sufficient, okay. Like for instance, in this mode, I'm actually looking at it and auto zoom it when it's further away, and it will zoom out when it's closer, okay. So in this mode, the XYZ lock are also works. Let's uncheck Y. You see, it's no longer following the Y. I can specify the Y axis like this, okay. I can also zoom out a little bit if it's too close. Again, if I uncheck the auto zoom, it will only use the original focal length. Now let's talk about the third mode here, which is attach. This is more like a GoPro mode. You can attach to the points and offset it based on the orient attribute. For example, I'm attaching to the pig head, and I can adjust the rotation in this post rotate parameter here, and it simply acts like a camera that attached to something, okay. You can offset it any way you like. Basically it's kind of like a GoPro camera. Now let's also look at the effects parameter here. This simply blends the X form originally from your camera with the new X form that you generate with this HDA. If I set it to 0, I actually have a animation on the original camera node. It looks kind of something like this. So if I set it to 1, it is back to the X form that generated by this HDA. So I can do a blending between the two depending on your needs, okay. Now let's have a look at example number 3, where I have a character walking in a scene here. Let's try look at. So it's a good time to talk about the target point parameter here, target point number parameter here. Let me just quickly show you the skeleton, okay. First I need to show you the character skeleton. So we have the character here, and we can actually have a look at the point number of the skeleton here. The hip is point number 1, and the head is point number 7. If we are interested in these two parts, we can enter the target point number, because I'm actually feeding the whole skeleton into the Cameraman HDA target point parameter, okay. It will let you select which point you actually want to target. By default is point 0. 0 is like right here, right now, okay. I want you to be more interested in point 1 in the hip, or point 7 on the head. So let's do it. Right now by default is 0, okay. So it's looking at the feet. So let's say to 7, and I want to look at her head. Maybe it's a little bit too up. You want to look like a neck. We can go down a little bit, go down 1 point. I think this is the neck point, point number 6. So we are looking at the neck, and it's more natural right now, okay. So like I said, the lock XYZ is still working, so I can uncheck the Y and specify the Y I want to look at. So I don't, because the character is walking and moving up and down, so I don't have to, the camera doesn't need to move up and down with the character, okay. Now it's also a good time to talk about autofocus. The last parameter of this HDA has an autofocus function, which allows you to set the camera's focus automatically to the target points, okay. In this case is I think the neck. As you can see, I have a little bit of focus offset here. If I focus on the neck, actually the eye will be out of focus. So I give you the option to offset a little bit about the focus. to more precisely focus on where you want it. Okay, if you want to offset further, then you need to adjust to a positive number. Okay, so it gives you this option to do that. I have one last example I can show you, which is a truck. Okay, this is also where the HDA can be very useful to animate a camera for vehicles. Okay, here I have a truck, and the target point will set to either a semi point. So the semi truck is represented by a point, and the trailer is also represented by a point. So I can use those points to drive this HDA. Here I'm set to semi. Okay, and let's have a look at the trace option. Trace the head, the semi truck head. Okay. Now let's try look at same story with the character. I can adjust the camera position to anywhere I like. I can also enable auto zoom. Attach, same thing. I need to adjust a little bit. Usually like a GoPro style. GoPro are wide angles, so let's set to like maybe 14. This look more like a GoPro style. Okay. Also, if I try to check the other point, a trailer point here, I will attach to the trailer. Okay. Okay. So that's it, and thank you very much. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Thank you.